Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to be going over the final update to the story I did a couple days ago. The video was titled, Wife Given the Boot After Demanding an Open Marriage Before Christmas. And guys, yesterday I did the update, which was update 1, 2, and 3. And today will be the final update of 4, 5, and 6 from this guy's crazy story. Now, since most of you guys that are going to be watching this today have already watched the two videos, there's no sense in going back and recapping the whole thing, okay? But you know what's going on. I will say this. After going through this story many times, which I have before I always do a video, I can tell you, I've been saying from the beginning that this is going to get crazier and crazier. And this final chapter here is definitely crazy. Now, there's definitely elements to this guy's ending of the story that's definitely going to make you question whether certain things are accurate, completely exaggerated, or made up. And I'm going to let you make that decision, and I will reveal things as the story goes. But I can tell you guys, I know what's going on behind the scenes. All what's really going on behind the scenes with his wife's crazy behavior and all that. And you're going to see when it's just revealed, and be revealed soon, that the reason behind it is something that a lot of people might actually have some experience in, or someone in their family or friends, what's going on. So, but I just want to point that out. But there are definitely some things that you're going to be shaking your head saying, is this real? Well, I'm going to go through the story and you guys can make up your own mind. So anyhow, guys, where we left off yesterday, our hero, he was in the courtroom and had a hearing, and they made an offer to his crazy ex-wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife, for $60,000 for part of the equity in the house, which she immediately almost jumped out of her seat to accept because she wanted money. Ding, ding, ding. Didn't care about the kids, anything else. So this is where he left off. His lawyers said, just lay low, don't rock the boat, let me take care of this. We'll try to speed this along as quickly as possible. Now I'm going to get into his final updates of 4, 5, and 6, and you're going to find out what really has been going on behind the scenes with his wife and all that. So, starts off. So yesterday was the hearing. I'm basically divorced. It will take 4 to 6 months for the paperwork to be official, but at this point, there is basically nothing anyone can do to change the outcome. The only option is for me and my wife together to stop it. I'm so effing tired. I haven't slept in I don't know how many days. So I'm a bit all over the place. Sorry. I just need to get this all out. I just need to vent. Totally understandable. After everything he's been through, totally understandable. Hopefully I can get some sleep after I type it out. My awesome lawyer got me an early hearing just 12 days after submitting the paperwork. Well, I do want to know how he got this hearing and these things sped along so quickly given the times of COVID, but he said in the story before that he is a very good lawyer, very high-priced lawyer that his friend helped him with, and she has lots of connections, so maybe it's possible. Who knows? That was a little red flag from the last video that I had to wonder how things were moved along so quickly. He says, no doubt she called in some favors on this one. Right. I'm getting off track. From the weekend up until today has been insane. Friday morning, a whole bunch of police officers knocked at my door with a warrant to search the house. Here we go. I was very confused. I was worried about the kids, so I asked if I could bring the kids outside while they did their search. Thankfully, they agreed to that. Well, I'd like to know a little bit more why they're coming to search the house. What did the ex-wife do? They didn't really tell me much, but I did get a copy of the warrant. I was so shaken up, I couldn't really make sense of it at all. I guess everyone that said that my ex-wife's behavior was probably drug-related, it's safe to say that it is at least this is a factor in this. Drugs, my friends. That's what I thought all along the first time I did the story. That's what a lot of you guys talked about in the comments section. Drugs. Think about it. Think about her sudden change in behavior when she got that new job. Now, sure, hang around a bunch of pissed off, angry effinists and social justice warriors, that's going to have an effect on somebody. But the sudden change in behavior, the not caring about anyone or anything, not caring about him, not caring about the kids, the sudden jumping for joy to get that $60,000 as soon as possible, drugs. The cop said about completely trashing my house. I called my lawyer and she talked to them. But the warrant was valid, so there wasn't anything that could be done at the time. Well, again, why are they trashing the house? You're going to see. I didn't think about it when it happened, but I have cameras everywhere now in case I get wrongfully accused. I have video and sound of everything. I could possibly make a claim letter if I want to. To be honest, I don't really know if I have the energy or will for that. Maybe I just put a line over it and move on. I didn't know it then, but my ex and her 3 harpy friends drove my car while high and drunk and crashed into a house at high speed. They were all arrested, all of them drunk, and they all had drugs in their system and in their body. They were pretty roughed up by the crash. The one in the passenger seat is in critical condition. They don't know if she will even make it. The lead harpy, let's call her Henrietta, she is the one that bragged about screwing over her husband and lying about her ex-husband in court. Let's call her ex-husband Henry. Me and Henry have become really good friends. I'll get back to him. Thankfully, they didn't find anything from the search. I gave my statement that my ex doesn't live here anymore. She lives with her parents. I don't know what she is doing. No, I didn't give Henrietta permission to drive my car, etc. So again, drugs. Now guys, I'm going to say this. Without revealing too much about me or my personal life, let's just say that I have a member of my family who I'm close to that definitely got on the wrong path, got into, well, let's be honest, alcoholic, drug addict, rehab multiple times. So this is something I understand very well. I understand about the lying, not caring about anyone or anything. You know, the old joke about how do you know a junkie's lying? Their lips are moving. Dead on, okay? I know this all about this very well. And let me tell you guys, people can call me a heartless bastard, but I have zero patience, zero tolerance for people like that, okay? There are exceptions. You know, if it's kid that gets involved in that type of stuff when they're young and stupid, that's one thing because they're kids. Or let's just say you had a veteran that came back and has PTSD and they're messed up and they get on that to cope, that's one thing. But just for your average individual who's an adult that gets in on that crap, whether they become alcoholics or they turn to drugs, become drug addicts and everything, the negative domino effect that has everyone that's in their lives, I have zero patience for that. Because guess what? There's plenty of people out there that go through hardships and don't turn to that stuff. And they don't ruin their lives and everybody else's lives around them. Okay? Plenty of people that can deal with it, okay? And again, call me a heartless bastard, but tough shit. You make a bed and you lie in it. And so I have zero sympathy for people that do this. And look at the effect she's had on her family. Look how she destroyed it, right? And you had to go on that little thing there. I may lose some subscribers for my opinions there, but so be it. This is who I am. Until you've been through it, until you've had somebody that's really had a negative impact on your life because of that, you don't know. But all these things that he's described or her behavior is dead on. Absolutely. And any of you guys have ever experienced that has somebody in your family you've been close to that, you know, was on the drugs or alcoholics or worse and had a lot of this type of behavior, you know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, so yeah, she crashed the car with all her friends and almost killed somebody. He says, when I got back to the house, I just broke down. Everything was completely trashed. It was just the last straw, I guess. The only thing I could think of was to call my dad, who brought me and the kids home to stay with my mom. Dad then got a whole group together, 26 friends and relatives. While I was sobbing on the back porch, eating my mom's amazing comfort food, feeling sorry for myself, they completely cleaned and fixed my entire house. This guy is a hell of a great support network. It's awesome. They did every single room, clothes, dishes, furniture, even washing the ceiling and the walls. It's never been this clean. They even fixed all the little things like loose door handles, etc. I just couldn't believe they would do such a thing for me. I have no idea how I can ever repay them. He's got an awesome family and friends. That's awesome. I went from wanting to end it all to feeling pretty good over the weekend thanks to them. The cops found more drugs at Henrietta's house and her boyfriend wasn't there. No babysitter either, just the kids alone. This crazy psycho, who's an addict, she's the one that lied about her ex so she could get the kids, and he is pretty much broke, right? And she's allowed to have the kids. These poor kids. You see why I have zero patience or tolerance for these types? The kids were taken by CPS, and Henry won temporary emergency custody Saturday after showing the judge the chat logs. Combined with the abandonment and piles of drugs thing, he got custody without much difficulty. That's awesome. I don't know how fast these things work. Okay, I'm not an attorney and I don't work in that line, but if this is accurate, this is true, that's great to hear that. He says, Henry is over the moon happy. He has hardly seen his kids in the last 5 years. He's been raising money to fight Henrietta in court when this happened. He still needs to go to court to make it permanent, but the odds are really good at this point. Everybody thinks Henrietta will have to serve time. If her friend doesn't make it, probably serious time. After that, we'll talk about Karma. This is the one that lied about her ex-husband, doing all these horrible things so she could, destroy him in court and get the kids. Karma. After that, he will try for child support and compensation for all the crap Henrietta did. He isn't expecting much in this, though, and to be honest, I think he doesn't want to waste his time fighting in court. He wants to be with his kids and make sure they have a good life. It's pretty clear that Henrietta has been very neglectful towards the kids. Bob, his friend, has been a champ and set Henry up in a rental apartment through a friend. Bob is his very wealthy friend, who he has no idea what he does for a living. Everybody has that one friend who does well, nobody can ever explain what they do. I've come to realize that I know practically nothing about Bob's private or professional life. I intend to remedy that. Anyway, I'm off track again. Henrietta was at the wheel when she drove off the road into a house. They were all pretty banged up, and due to the situation, the alcohol and the drugs, search warrants were issued for everyone's residence. My ex is still registered with her residence at my house. I decided on Sunday that I'm selling this house and moving away ASAP. I'm afraid this will probably happen again. You know what? That's not a bad idea. Sell the place, assuming he's making a profit off it, and get away. Okay, if he got full custody, I don't know if it's legal, but if he's going to get full custody, I wouldn't even let her know where the damn kids are. On Sunday, I get a call from her parents. Their house got searched as well. They had visited their daughter in jail on Saturday. They no longer trust anything she tells them. So the ex-wife, she's in the slammer. Long story short, they came over to talk to me on Sunday, and it turns out that she's been lying to them about everything. The nights that she has been out partying and cheating, she told them that she was staying with me, and we were trying to work things out. What I tell you about that, how do you know a junkie's lying? Their lips are moving. They lie about everything. Again, this is something I know about very, very well. They had no idea what was actually going on or what she has done to me and the kids. They knew she cheated, but they believed it was a one-time drunken mistake. That's basically what she told them. So they have her parents have no idea what's been going on at all. Again, welcome to having a junkie in your family. They had no idea what was going on, blah, blah, blah. On Monday, my wife calls me to try to get me to post bail. Ha! It's $15,000, and her parents have already told her no. After talking to my lawyer, she made some papers that the bail is subtracted from the settlement until she shows in court, and the bail is released. The agreement included her mother as the custodial of the remaining amount. My lawyer didn't want my wife to have any excuse for not attending the hearing. That's why she wanted me to get her out. Well, listen to your lawyer. The ex didn't really have a choice, and she signed. She was released Monday afternoon. From what her parents tell me, she refused to comply with the terms they had for her to continue living there. Sounds like a junkie. This is all dead on for behavior with addicts. Dead on. They're not going to admit they have a problem. They're not going to listen to anybody. Everything they say is a lie. They don't care about anyone or anything they hurt. All they care about is getting that drug. That's it. And they hang out with people just like them. You know, guys, I got to tell you, there's a stereotype about how you've had the whole opioid thing for the last few years. You haven't heard much about it since Corona hit the world, but before that, opioid this, opioid that. These bored housewives, they're depressed, and their doctors and their shrinks, their therapists or the psychiatrists start prescribing them drugs to deal with it, and they get hooked on it and everything like that. And you can go back and forth about blame, but the point is this: a lot of these bored housewives end up on this stuff. The wife got the job, started hanging out with these so-called friends, and she starts in on with them, right? Now, obviously, for her to do this in her 30s, she already had to be pretty bored, pretty unhappy in her life, but that's on her. It's not on her husband. He's doing his best with her, and from his description, he's been a pretty good husband to her. She chose this path, okay? In her mid-30s, has kids, she chose this, okay? So I don't feel bad for her at all, okay? Some people would. I don't. I'm not a bleeding heart. I may live in Massachusetts. I would be surrounded by a lot of bleeding hearts here. Not me. Not at all. Anyway, she was released, blah, blah, blah. And she refused to deal with the terms. The terms like stop doing drugs, commit to rehab, open everything policy, drop the bad friends, etc. She doesn't want to do any of that. That sounds exactly like the situation that I dealt with in my family with a certain member. She apparently left her house on Tuesdays to stay with some of her new friends. Okay, great idea. Send her back with the friends that are all users and scumbags. That's really going to help her out. She didn't show for the hearing. Big surprise. And after showing the judge everything, including the events over the weekend, I won full custody. Awesome. The settlement is according to the agreement we made. It was a quick, only 30 minutes. It will take 4 to 6 months to go through the paper mill. But in reality, it's done. There isn't really anything that can be done to stop this now. That brings us to today. I was unable to sleep. Everybody was congratulating me and treating me like I had won some major victory. But it sure as hell doesn't feel like I won anything. This is just pain. I still love my wife. I know it's over and there is absolutely no way back. She was my best friend, my soulmate, up until recently, and even though I feel my love for her has been mortally wounded, it's still there, and it hurts like a mother. Even though everything that she's done to him and what's been going on behind the scenes, he obviously was with her for a long time. She's the mother of his kids, so it's not going to just evaporate. It's going to be a roller coaster. He's going to have time to say, he's going to be like, thank God she's out of my life, screw her. And other times he's going to be, he'll start questioning, what did I do? What did I do? He didn't do anything. It's all on her. It's going to take him time to get over this. He says, there's no winners in this. I lose. My wife loses. My kids lose. I really don't have the words. It feels like I'm being asked to celebrate that I had lost both my legs. But because it took action, one of my legs could be cut below the knee while the other one's still cut above. He referenced to it felt like he lost a leg because that's how it feels like to him. Almost like an amputation with this whole thing happening and her out of his life just like that. Even though it's her fault. So I can't really sleep, and when I do, I'm torn through terrible nightmares that have me waking up and drenched in cold sweat. I'm complaining a bit, sorry. Dude, your life's gone through hell. Don't worry about it. But you gotta move on. Anyway, today I get a call from the hospital that my ex is hospitalized. I'm still in her emergency contact, and she still is on my health insurance. Well, that's gonna change soon. There has been an altercation. Well, imagine that. More drama from the ex. She has lost some teeth, broken jaw, and she will need to stay for observation for a few days. I bring her parents, and when I get there, it turns out that some of her new friends have beaten her up pretty badly. This just gets crazier and crazier. Again, you can see how some people are starting to wonder if this is complete BS or not, but understanding and having experience with people that were addicts and all that, and the circles they go through, this isn't entirely far off, guys. Word got out that Henry had chat logs of Henrietta bragging about what she had did to Henry from my wife's phone. For those of you, in case you forget, he had put spyware on her phone, so he was able to see all the text conversations she had with her new friends. And the one was bragging about on the phone how she had set her ex-husband up, lied about him, and made up all this stuff so she could get the kids and all the benefits and all that. And now he used that evidence and plus her going to jail to get them back. And so obviously they're pissed at her about this. They assumed that my wife had given the logs to Henry. This resulted in them beating her up and kicking her out. Amazingly, she still doesn't understand that I have access to monitor her phone. Her mind is in la la land. That's the last thing she's thinking about. I will keep on like I do now, pay for insurance, her phone, etc. All the way until I get the papers in my hand. I just won't believe it until I hold it in front of me. She has nothing now. She asked if she can move back home. I simply told her, no way in hell. There is no way in hell I'd let her anywhere near me or the kids. Go into rehab. Get your life together, okay? And you can go, you're your parents' child. We're done. Your parents can help you if they want to, and get your life together. You can get your clean slate on your own terms, but you're not screwing me over anymore, and you're not screwing up her kids. Her mother isn't giving her a single penny unless she gets clean and stays clean for at least a year. I wouldn't, at least a year? How about for life? Go to rehab. Get yourself a sponsor. Sponsors multiple times a week if you have to, okay? And she doesn't have any access to money. And doesn't go anywhere near her so-called friends. They offered her to live with them on the previous strict terms. If she doesn't accept, I don't see how she will manage. If she doesn't accept, she's going to be on the streets. And unfortunately, that means the taxpayers are going to have to deal. Either the taxpayers will have to deal with her if it gets to that point, or basically she's on the streets panhandling or doing way worse to get money. Again, this is crazy because this is the guy's the mother of his children, but she brought this on herself. It's an ugly situation, but she brought this on herself. It's the first time I've seen any form of regret from her since this all started, but I think it's regret that she can no longer continue with her craziness. Yeah, because she's in rehab, she's not getting the drugs, so she's getting off this, and some things are starting to come through. Or she's expressing regret and she's lying just so she can, say what she can say to get out of the rehab and go back to doing what she's doing. Again, I know what I'm talking about here. She said, "I'm so sorry I ruined everything, but I don't think it's genuine." Probably not. She hardly looked at me in the eye while I was there. It hurt seeing her like this. I felt like I wanted to protect her, but she's an adult. Her behavior is dangerous and erratic, and I need to protect my kids. Yes, she is an adult, and you protect your kids and keep them as far away from her crazy ass as possible. Apart from that, she didn't ask about the hearing. She didn't even ask about the condition of her critically injured friend. She basically just sat there seeming irritated. Sounds right. I still don't understand this. She has lost everything. She has destroyed her family and caused a lot of pain from a lot of people. And for what? A buzz and some random you-know-what? I'm going completely no contact until she has been clean for a long time. I just can't deal with all the crazy. This sounds exactly like the behavior of people that are addicts. They don't admit they have a problem. They don't care about what they do, who they hurt, at all. And they will say anything and do anything to get out of the rehab and to get back where they were and go back to that life. No joke. Okay. I know it sounds crazy, but this is what he's writing. And again, until you've dealt with people like this and had some experience in this, and I don't wish it on anybody, someone in your family like this, you may say this is all BS, but there's a lot of things that add up here. Okay, update number 5. So a lot of people have PM'd me for an update. I was going to post one yesterday, but I didn't have the energy. I'm kind of depressed and very, very tired. I hardly even sleep, and when I do, I'm plagued by nightmares. Good news is the kids are doing much better. My dad is a champ, and I don't know what I'd do without him. We went to his cabin to go skiing for a weekend. Me, him, and the kids. It was great. Good. These kids need some fun, and you need some fun too, man. I basically no contact with my ex. I did talk to one of her harpy friends. Why are you talking to her crazy friends? The one that was in critical condition, she woke up, but she is in terrible shape. I talked to her nurse, and she said that no one has bothered to look in on her while she was there. They had contacted her family, and they just refused to see her. Because obviously she's pushed everybody in her life away because of her behavior. I'm worried the people that beat up my ex will come for me and the kids, so I asked via the nurse if I could talk to her, and she agreed. If you hear that buzzing, somebody's mowing a bush over there, so I'll try to talk loud here. She started off asking me if I wanted a BJ for $20. That wasn't awkward at all. Addicts, see what I'm talking about? I offered her $50 in exchange for information instead. The harpy friends are, and here we go, listen to this. She's revealing what happens. The harpy friends are all hardcore drug users, addicts. Henrietta dragged my wife into their group against the wishes of the other two and convinced her to try drugs and party with them. The wife was a grown-ass woman with kids and a husband. She can do what she wanted, okay? She wasn't forced into this, okay? She made that choice, and she had made her bed, and now she's lying in it. What I tell you guys about monitoring who your girlfriend, fiance, and wives hang out with, always pay attention to her friends, especially if she's susceptible to pressure. She says, they sold you-know-what favors to get money for drugs. Henrietta is the lead on this. They all preach this strong effness, my own body stuff, but as she put it, it's all BS to protect their own imagined egos. What we really do is sell ourselves for money to buy drugs. There you go. But she met them in the workplace, so they obviously have jobs. I like to know how these guys handle their jobs. So this is a question I have here. She met them in the workplace. So, but then again, he mentioned earlier in the story that she works part-time, and it's like minimum wage or anything like that. So obviously, they're not making a whole lot of money here. So that's how they really get their money for the drugs. Anyhow, my wife bought into their BS first and didn't take long until she was addicted, just like the rest of them. Once she was hooked, she eventually started selling you-know-what to pay for the drugs. Not easy hearing that the person you love more than anything turned herself into a WHORE to meet her drug addiction. It makes sense why all she wanted was the money now. See? That's why she got so excited in court that hearing to get that $60,000. She didn't care about anything else. She didn't care about the custody of the kids. She heard $60,000. Boom. She can buy drugs. And of course, her so-called friend was there to milk it too. For what she tells me, it's mainly meth. No one visited her because she has stolen, cheated, abused, and lied to everyone in her life, and no one wants anything to do with her. This sounds exactly like your stereotypical situation. She told me without even blinking how sad she was that she survived. She has zero hope for her future, and she looks like the walking death without her makeup. Yeah, that's what these addicts look like. A lot of them get on, they try to get them off these things, but with methadone. Certain areas in Boston have methadone clinics, and outside of them, it's like the show The Walking Dead. I'm not kidding. Okay, now, usually methadone is used to get people, I believe, off heroin. I don't know about meth. Okay, this is not my area of expertise, but nonetheless, these people look like zombies walking around. It was painful. I was devastated just listening to her. I cried a lot for my wife's sake. I'm not excusing her. She made the choice to play with this shit, and she lost. Now she will pay the price. She also told me about the guys that beat up my ex, and I will get back to this later. Henrietta has been charged with you-know-what threats, resisting arrest, drug possession, selling oneself, drug trafficking, something abuse, and neglect. I have to speak in code here because YouTube is crazy, and if I say some of these words, the video could get flagged, and I want to finish this story for you guys. DUI, property damage, and auto theft. See? All these things that can happen to people once they get hooked on some major stuff, and this is accurate. She is denied bail as a flight risk, and she'll probably go away for a long time. At least I hope she will. Well, so do I. She's trash. The world does not need people like her. Some people may not like me saying that, but it's the truth. Before I go on, I would like to thank those that have reached out with experience dealing with addicts. Yes, I'm one of them. I know what it's like, and it ain't pretty. And so a lot of things he's describing here is dead on. Many warned me that my ex might try to end herself now that the walls are closing in. Yep, you were right. She tried to deliberately OD. I talked to her father about it beforehand, that there was a high chance she might try something. We decided to try to monitor her closely. Luckily, she didn't know that I have live information on her mobile. While we were in the cabin on Saturday, I got a message from her. It reads like a ending your life note. She tells about the addiction, the selling herself, how she let everybody down, that she will do the only thing she can do, etc. I immediately called her dad, and because I have the mobile monitor, I also have her location. Her father rushes out and finds her unconscious on a park bench. She is immediately taken to the hospital and pumped. She is also very hypothermic. I dread to think of what would happen if he arrived just a little later. Well, I'm kind of surprised she's out of the hospital. Okay. They have her on methadone for now. Her father has successfully become her appointed guardian. She can no longer object to treatment. Her father has had her then forcefully committed to a rehab center, and she will go through the sedated detox. I don't know when, but probably this week. So she's on methadone to get her off of the stronger stuff. That's what often is done. Now, I know that's used for people that are on heroin. I don't know if it's for meth, but maybe they do. Someone can tell me. Her father was appointed not because she had OD, but because she abandoned her children. Apparently, abandoning your children proves that you are not rational while trying to end it. And while trying to end it is okay. Anyway, thankfully, I haven't had a chance to cancel her life insurance yet, so she will get the treatment. I've offered my ex to help with the finances as long as my ex isn't told that I am. I've been very scared that the guys that attacked her, they were going to come after me and the kids. Remember, Henry presented chat logs in court that they believe my wife gave to Henry. I talked to Henry about it, and he decided that he would fix this since he benefited from the disclosure. I don't know if it is mentioned this, but Henry is an angry meat mountain of a man. He grew up on a farm carrying stuff since he was a kid, so he looks like he can rip apart the average man in half. He bends down walking through the doorway. He has a crew cut and some facial scars. Let's just say he's very intimidating, and if you don't know him. In reality, he is infinitely patient, gentle, and kind. I don't doubt he will use force if he finds it necessary, but for him, it's a last resort. Anyway, he went to the guy's apartment, a real shithole, by the way. He grabbed the two guys by the neck and told them that Henrietta had given him the chat logs, and since they hurt someone he knew, they had no choice to number one, go with him to the police and confess everything relating to the assault, or two, face him right there, and that they should expect some very painful permanent injuries if they choose option two. As he told me this, he let them know that he was very hopeful that they would choose option two. They apparently couldn't get to the police fast enough. Needless to say, I no longer worry about them. I wouldn't worry about them. Now, I have to wonder if these guys voluntarily went to the police. That's another red flag, but okay. I found a new apartment and will be moving soon. Bob once again came through. All in all, I'm very depressed. This is heavy on my soul. What keeps me going is my friends and family, and I know I need to stay strong for the kids. Right. Take it day by day, hour by hour, you will get there. And your friends and family, they've been your rock. You'll get through this. It will get better. But this is crazy. I understand this, but you will get through it. My heart breaks for my ex despite everything. I don't regret marrying her. I still love her, but I know we can't never get back together. Never get back together with her, ever. I wouldn't have anything to do with her beyond what is absolutely required by the courts. She isn't the person she used to be, and there is just so much pain between us. Despite all the pain recently, we had a very good life before that. I wouldn't have had my children if it wasn't for her, and wouldn't give them up for anything. At least that, you got the kids out of her. And make sure you teach those kids to never ever touch drugs. Ever, ever, ever. And obviously be extremely careful with alcohol, I might add. I know it's going to hurt for a long time, but I'm strong enough to get through it. Strangely enough, news of my wife's addiction hasn't helped my kids deal with it. It's much easier to talk about how mommy is sick, and it's going to take a long time for her to get well. Remember, his kids are little. They're like 8 and 10 years old. She still loves them, etc., etc. She may somewhere in her dark soul love them, but the drugs are taking over. Right now, I'm sad and tired. Henry is here with his kids. We are going to watch Madagascar 3, I think. I'm trying to make as many good new memories as possible. Henry is doing the same, and his kids and my kids look like they're doing a lot better now. I think we will be okay. Thank you everyone for your help. This will be my last post here, I think. Well, it's not his last post, and here is the last and final post, and it is quick to this entire saga. And here we go. He says, my ex passed away. She OD'd in rehab. I want to know how she OD'd in rehab, but the fact that she OD'd and she's gone, I'm not surprised in the least. We don't know how she even got the drugs. She must have taken them while inside somehow, but no one actually knows how. One doctor speculates that she has swallowed a bag or something and then it burst. I won't be posting anymore or answering any more comments. Thank you to everyone who provided helpful suggestions and comments. The end. So, very abrupt ending for a very long story. Now, as you can see in this third part, lots of things that would make a lot of people say, this is bullshit, and all that. But again, being someone that has had someone in my family I'm close to, be an addict, be an alcoholic, and do all the things, not all, there certainly wasn't any beating up or what else, some of the other things there, but almost all these things, I can tell you that is not nonsense. That these things happen. The lying, the not caring about anyone or anything except for getting those drugs, completely changing behavior, crashing cars, the rehab, saying anything to get out of rehab. This is all dead on, okay? Now, again, this is a very abrupt ending. And so maybe for him, that was it. He just doesn't want to write anymore. He gave that little update. That's it. Who knows? But at the end of the day, everybody else can watch this video and determine whether it was real, this is actually a real story, or just one hell of a creative writing exercise for this guy. Who knows? But I will say this, given the fact that I've experienced in this, there's a lot of things dead on the money. There were still some red flags. I'm not going to deny that, but nevertheless, this was a damn good, entertaining story nevertheless. And if you're honest with yourselves, a lot of guys come here for the entertaining story. So the point of the whole story is, guys, never accept an open marriage, ever, ever, ever. Keep your friends close. Your friends are gold. They've helped this guy out so much. If you're in a bad situation, stay strong for your family, stay strong for your kids, and for all that is sacred and holy, never ever get into drugs, never ever drink so much you're an alcoholic, any of that, and you start noticing these signs, it could be a possibility, okay? Like I said before, I have zero patience for drug addicts, zero patience for alcoholics, people that let themselves go, because there's plenty of people in this world that have gone through horrible hardships and they don't destroy themselves and everybody all around them. I said there are exceptions. I do tend to feel a little bad for kids that get in on this stuff when they're younger, because they're young and dumb, you know, and the impact it has because they're kids. It's not past. It's just I have a little sympathy for them, or for perhaps veterans that, you know, they come back and they got PTSD and things like that, and they start on the drugs to block out, you know, the world. That's one thing. But for just ordinary people that just go to this just to cope and deal and destroy their lives and others, I got no sympathy, because you see right here in this story what he's describing. Anybody that's had a family member that's gotten into this stuff, you know darn well that a lot of this stuff is pretty darn right on the money. Absolutely. So anyhow, I've gone long enough. This video is now like almost 35 minutes long. So, but anyhow, guys, hope you enjoyed this long saga. These have been some of the longest videos I've done. So, but anyhow, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know about the stories. Any of you guys have experienced somebody in your family, your friends that have been on drugs and rehab and all that. Share your stories, because a lot of people don't really know what these type of things, how it happens and what goes on until it actually happens to them. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody, believe me. So, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.